Turn to a word from Scripture from the Gospel according to John, 15th chapter, beginning in the 9th verse. Listen closely for God's word for you. Jesus says, "As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. I've said these things to you so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. This is my commandment. Love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. I don't call you servants any longer, because the servant doesn't know what the master is doing, but I call you friends, because I've made known to you everything that I have heard from my Father. You did not choose me, I chose you. I appointed you to go and bear fruit that will last, so that the Father will give you whatever you ask him in my name. I'm giving you these commands so that you will love one another. Thanks be to God. Amen." Let us pray. Turn our hearts toward your word, O God. Turn our lives toward your Son. We hear a word that is a promise of hope and friendship, Jesus Christ. And may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable unto you. For you, O Lord, you are our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. They say you can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends. Well, that's not quite right. You can choose most of your friends, but you can't choose all of them. Who were Jesus' friends? Well, the disciples, of course. They must have been his friends. And if the disciples were his friends, I think Peter was his best friend. You know how it is with best friends. How you can tell each other everything. How you know what your best friend is thinking before she says it. How you would do anything for your best friend. How you would give your best friend the shirt off your back. And how your best friend would do the same for you. I think Peter and Jesus were like best friends, and I think Peter could make Jesus laugh like only a best friend can make him laugh. See, that's another thing about best friends, how they can make each other laugh. Tell your best friend a lousy joke, she'll laugh. I think there were times when Peter and Jesus laughed together uncontrollably, like the time Peter tried to walk on water, or when Jesus took Peter and a couple other friends up hiking the mountain, and Peter, all he wanted to do was pitch a tent and stay a while. Or that time when Jesus got so mad at Peter that he called him Satan. Best friends can frustrate us like no one else, can't they? But after tempers cooled, I bet they told that story over a campfire, and I bet they laughed like only best friends could do. But on the night after he was betrayed, after he took bread and wine and talked about the future with God, after he washed their feet and told them to love one another, do you remember what happened to those two best friends? Do you remember what happened when they took him away in chains and taunted him and whipped him and spit at Jesus? You remember what happened when they went to hunt down all of his students one by one? You remember what they said when they found one of his favorite students keeping his hands warm by the fire while the teacher was put on trial for his life? They said to his prized student and his best friend, "You were with him, weren't you? You sound like him. You act like him. Your accent is the same as his. You were his friend, weren't you?" And Peter? "No, I wasn't. I don't know who you're talking about, and I certainly was not his friend." I once had a friend who was accused of doing something terrible. And he was accused of doing something terrible while he worked in a very public job. And later on, they found him guilty. Have you ever known anyone like that? Have you ever seen anyone fall from grace, as they say, whatever that means? Where a public figure is accused of something, but you know him more than just a public figure, more than just prey for the vultures who come and swarm. In my case, after things had settled down a bit, there was a moment where the spotlight shifted from the one who was accused, and it began to shine on his friends, the people he worked with and spent time with and laughed with. Weren't you one of his friends? Well, yes, we worked together. Yeah, we led a retreat or two together. Yes, I knew him well, but I was never really his friend. I heard myself saying such things, that I was anything but his friend, and I'm ashamed of that. Maybe it was an instinct, but I hated that it was my first instinct. Yes, we shared meals together. Our families knew one another. Sure, I helped him move into his new home. But friend? Yes, our desks were right next to each other, and I went to the baptism of his children. But friend. Sure, we went fishing together in Galilee. Yeah, he took me hiking. Sure, we ate meals together, we worked together. I love to listen to him tell a story. I left a lot behind in my life to follow him. I thought he had a lot to say. He was a good teacher, a pretty good preacher, and I thought I was a great student. But was I his friend? Friend? A friend isn't something you do things with. A friend isn't just a label about someone else. Call someone a friend, and that says something about you, doesn't it? That's a whole different story. Today, Jesus is speaking to his disciples, but John is speaking to the church. Jesus is speaking to his students who have been with him from the beginning. John, long after Jesus had departed from them, is writing to people hearing about Jesus for the first time. And to both groups, Jesus has a gift. One last word, one last bit of wisdom. And the gift is a new name. No, it's more than a new name. It's a new title. You're no longer students. You're not even servants anymore. And I'm no longer just your master. Today, Jesus chooses us as friends. That's a whole different story. Because under Roman occupation at the time of Jesus, servants were obligated to be a friend. In good times and bad, servants had no choice. It was obligation. You had a duty to be a friend. And if the master was in danger, the servant had no choice but to lay down his life. A servant that did not do such things would be put to death. But Jesus says it's different now. I can't teach you anything else. I've given you everything. I'm not asking you to sign a contract. I'm asking you to be my friend. The kind of friend that will lay down your life. and do it out of love. And do it out of love. I read this week about a guy named Bob. Bob DeMarco never planned on laying down his life for anyone. Bob's as ordinary as you and me. Bob made it big in finance, was a chief executive of a small software company. Bob was married at one time in his life and later divorced. And 8 years ago, Bob's mother, Dottie, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And Bob has become his 96-year-old mother's full-time caregiver. And so Bob blogs about that. From full-time professional to full-time friend to his 96-year-old mom. Not obligated because he is her son. Certainly not because he chose this, but because it chose him. So he's choosing to lay down his life a day at a time. He writes about how his life used to be this wonderful cartoon, and it used to be so rich, but now caring for his mom, Bob's life is rich in spirit. People think I don't have a life, Bob writes. I can't date because I can't make a commitment more than a minute at a time. People ask me, how long you think you're going to do this, Bob? I say at least one more day. Anyone here who knows what that's like? To be a full-time friend and a full-time caregiver, not because you chose it, but because it chose you. When you don't know what the future holds because it's just too hard, but you know that you're in it for one more day. And then a day after that, laying your life down, and then doing it again. It seems to me when we read things that Jesus tells his disciples, we often read them in one of two ways. That Scripture is either an on-ramp or an off-ramp. An on-ramp or an off-ramp. We read it, we draw immediate conclusions. That has something to say to me, or more often than not, we dismiss it. That has nothing to say to me at all. Love your enemies? Off-ramp. Try living my life. Try having my job. That's awful nice, but that doesn't apply anymore in the real world. Forgive so that you'll be forgiven. Off-ramp. You try forgiving. I've tried. I've given up on forgiveness a long time ago. Lay down your life. Lay down your life for your friends. Off-ramp. Can't imagine what that means in today's world. I can't imagine that it says anything to me. But what if laying down your life for your friends doesn't always mean dying for them? Or what if laying down your life for your friends means living for them? Bob didn't live his entire life as his mother's full-time caregiver. He made a lot of money. He did well in business, but he's finding something out about life, that it's richer to live for someone else. And he's finding God there. Not in an easier life, but in a richer one, because Bob didn't choose it. It chose him. You know, for a few years, I got to lead worship over at Manor Care with John and Jean and Nettie and Walt and a few others. And we would always sing. I'd give a message, but the singing was always more important. And some of the folks were in good health, and most of them were not. But whenever we'd ask them, what would you like to sing today? Do you know what they would want to sing? What a friend we have in Jesus. Because 7 decades ago, someone taught them that Jesus was their friend. And it's written on their hearts, even when other memories have begun to fade. And so they want to sing about it. Not that Jesus would protect them from all of life's difficulties, because no friend does that. But friends are there. And it's the there-ness of Jesus that they want to sing about, especially when others have left your side. And so I imagine today that Jesus has a red hymnal in his hand, and a blue hymnal in his hand, and a purple hymnal in his hand, and all the hymnals of the world in his hands. And do you know what Jesus wants to sing today? What a friend I have in you. What a friend I have in you. That'll knock the wind out of you, won't it? For Jesus to sing that so that he lays down his life for his friends, that's almost too much to behold. So have you ever been given a promotion that you didn't ask for? The new responsibilities and the new desk and the corner office and the new salary and the key to the executive washroom and the perks. Congratulations. You've been promoted today. The only promotion you'll ever get that you didn't earn. You did nothing to earn it. It's been earned for you. And let's just say there's a heck of a lot more reasons why you don't deserve it. But the one reason you do is the one that matters. And that's called grace. And that's a whole different story, isn't it? Congratulations. Now you're a friend. And with this promotion, you can only hope that you'd go out into the world on Monday morning and be asked what Peter was asked. You talk like him. You act like him. Aren't you one of his friends?